Don't stop going south, 'cause they'll let you play your music real damn loud. Don't stop heading south, 'cause they won't understand the words that are pouring from your mouth. Don't stop going.
Hi, this is Eric with Red Letter Leadership, installment number 5 of the Beltway series, and today we're going to talk about how to delegate tasks. I think there's 3 important things to remember when delegating tasks. The first thing that I think it's important for us to remember is a principle of Marine Corps leadership. And in the Marine Corps, we have 14 leadership traits and 11 leadership principles. One of those leadership principles is employ your team in accordance with its capabilities. So the number one rule of assigning tasks is to make sure you give it to somebody who's capable of achieving the task or who is the best fit to complete the task. Giving it to somebody who is overwhelmed or unable to complete it, or doesn't know how to do it, or doesn't have the right tools, or maybe you haven't equipped them appropriately, or maybe they don't have the knowledge set or the other skill set, will lead to inefficiency, and it will probably lead to an incomplete task. So the number one rule is employ your team in accordance with its capabilities. The number 2 rule when assigning tasks, and these aren't hard, fast rules, these are just some things to think about, but the second thing to think about whenever we're assigning tasks is set a deadline and follow up. And I would add on to that, set a realistic deadline when assigning them. If you set something for one of your teammates that they can't achieve, it's going to demotivate them and they're going to have no ambition to achieve that task. So when you assign the task to the appropriate person, talk with them about how long they think it will take them to complete that task. Make sure that you share expectations. And once you can agree upon a task timeline that works for both parties, both you and them, follow up at about the halfway point to make sure that they're on track. In the Marine Corps, in the tactical level planning environment, we call it, use an acronym called BAMSIS, which we won't get into, but the S stands for supervise. So make sure you supervise the task and give them a realistic deadline to complete that task. And the last thing, when we're talking about delegating tasks, is if you've got a task that's an undesirable task, maybe it doesn't really fit in anybody's category or skill set like we talked about in rule number 1, or it's a really hard task, one technique you can use to accomplish or assign that task is to ask your team if somebody wants to take it on board. What you might find, and what I've often found whenever I have an undesirable task to delegate, is that there may be somebody who just has a niche, who enjoys or wouldn't mind doing the thing that you're asking them to do. And it might actually give you an opportunity to uncover hidden talents inside of your team that you didn't know existed, or uncover hidden interests amongst your team. And so the third thing to think about is if you've got an undesirable task, before you just assign it to somebody that you pick, ask your team if somebody wants to take it on board, which is another way to give them ownership to the process as well. Because I think if you've got something undesirable, folks are far more willing to accomplish it if they felt like they had a choice in whether or not they were going to do it. So to wrap this up, 3 things to consider when delegating tasks: employ your team in accordance with its capabilities, set realistic timelines, and follow up or supervise. And lastly, if you've got undesirable tasks, before you assign them, ask your team if somebody wants to take it on board themselves. Thanks for joining us again today. Again, I'm Eric with Red Letter Leadership.